Hey everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey Katie.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going. Got some weird mystery illness going on and spent the morning at the doctor and, the stupid stuff. But I'm here.
Right.
I'm here. I actually feel a lot better this afternoon.
We're very glad you're here.
That's right.
We're just doing the best we got on a Tuesday.
Right? Yeah. It is what it is. That's
I have a tiny little show and tell for you.
Oh,
Look
good.
At this. This is a rose snail. The snail's Jesus, where's my camera? Okay. The snail's shell is a little rose. Isn't that so cute?
Oh, that is so cute. That's adorable.
Pulled it off the printer this morning. I think they're so damn cute. I don't know. I'm so addicted to making all this fun, cute stuff. Well, and I'll tell you what, I had my stuff set up to take pictures of this particular print today. And I have like this, it's a piece of like foam core that opens up that's white so that I can take pictures with a white background. And I dropped a handful of these rose snails on there, and my kittens jumped up there and just started going crazy. And I went, well, that's the best advertising I've ever seen in my life. So I have some videos coming for my social media that are the kittens playing with various fidgets of mine, because I mean, what's a better endorsement than kittens?
Yeah.
Best fidgets in town if my kitties like them. Anyway,
that's right.
I just thought that was super fun. So yeah, I'll be posting that on my socials.
Now you can write the cost of those kitties off on your taxes.
My gosh, right? We're already into quite a vet bill just for, shots.
Advertisement. Oh, well, yeah, you bet you are.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rose Snail is available over on Fidget Whimsy. I did put my link in there. All my other stuff's over there too. But yeah, they are my spokes kitties. You are right, Teresa. They are going to be testing out all of my fidgets to see what they think.
Whether you want them to or not.
Yeah, they will. That's the thing. I had not initially invited this. They just leaped in.
That's right.
And
they know where they're needed.
Yeah, then I was like, oh, this is perfect. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, they are the best spokes kitties.
Life with kitties, man.
Oh my gosh. They're so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just so much fun. So much fun.
Oh, they are.
They are. Well, I know that you're going to kick us off today with a little bit of the WTF news.
I really am. Well, friends, you can't say that the police in Wisconsin don't occasionally find something to have some fun with.
Oh, really?
And maybe this was just an attempt to, like, I don't know, be funny, have fun with your job. I don't know. But I thought this really tickled my funny bone, and I thought it would yours too. So I'm going to show you a little video, and then we'll talk about it. And the video really is just audio.
333 Fond du Lac, 1045.
333, go ahead.
I've got a turkey attacking my cruiser. 3301 to 333, please take video. 10-4, he has no fear.
333, what's the 20?
I am on Evergreen at Hay Meadow in Grand Chute.
Or do you need backup units?
I don't know what they're going to do. 333 Fond du Lac. I tried to use my siren to scare him out of the road so he wouldn't get struck, and I think he took it as a challenge.
10-4.
Is he playing chicken with you?
358 Fond du Lac. Does 333 need a 33 response?
333, do you need backup emergence for the turkey attack?
Yeah, 1040 is good. I'm trying to de-escalate. Currently negotiating. He is pecking at my tire.
10-4.
33 Fond du Lac. I'm currently in a foot pursuit. Gonna be eastbound Male, about 2 feet tall, short beard,
7433, do you have the clothing description?
mostly brown, some red and white trim, deceptively fast, lasting northbound on Foxcroft.
Units on scene at the turkey attack, status check?
333 Fond du Lac. We're 10-2. If you're holding the towers for us, you can clear them. The citizens of the neighborhood have been advised to keep an eye out for the suspect and shelter in place if he is seen.
What kind of bird brain attacks a police cruiser? Am I right?
Right.
I mean, this is a foul situation, really.
His goose is cooked. Oh, that was so funny. Deceptively
Hilarious.
fast. Knows no fear. I've heard that turkeys can be mean as hell.
Oh yeah, neighbors have been advised. I love
To watch
every
out,
bit of
shelter in
that.
place.
Yeah,
That was great. It was the way they kept it going, and like all of them like bought in. That was really great. That was very clever.
So funny. I loved it. This happened in Grand Chute, Wisconsin,
Ooh.
and they released this the dispatch audio on September 4th, and yeah, people are going crazy for it because it's just so damn funny.
He turned on his siren to get him out of the road, and he took that as the challenge. Right, Danielle? Somebody needs to do the animation like they do. I follow one account on Instagram that does that of police body cam footage and dispatch and stuff. It's so funny. This would be a great one.
This one will probably go down in the annals of history that way. Yeah, too funny. Yeah, I loved it. But the fact that he just keeps pecking on the tire, and then the foot pursuit, the way he sounds like he's really running hard and huffing and puffing.
In pursuit.
It reminded me of that video that we showed a year or so ago that was a vest cam of some officers way out in some sheriff's deputies out in some rural place, that there was somebody yelling help on this property. Some of you guys, I'm sure, remember this. And they're running down a lane, and they're both like, okay, I think it's coming from over here. And they're both just huffing and puffing and running. And you can hear, help, help. One officer he's a lot faster than the other. And he finally gets up there and rips open the barn door, and it's a goat.
So funny. Oh my God. Yeah, because it kind of sounded like a woman screaming help.
Screaming help. It really did. Yeah. They thought they were saving somebody. It turned out it was a goat. And then when they talked to the homeowners, they learned that for whatever reason, this goat had been separated from his best friend. And he was in the barn screaming his head off about it.
And he was yelling help.
Mm-hmm.
And the cops came.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he got his friend back.
I don't know. They're probably like, give him his stupid friend back so we don't have to do this again.
So funny. Oh my God. Well, Deanna is from Wisconsin, and she can confirm that, yes, turkeys are vicious. Deanna says we were walking around the Arboretum, and we heard one stomping out of the bushes, and we booked it out of there so fast. I'm not going to tussle with one.
She did not shelter in place. She ran for her life.
we have had that same experience with roosters before, and geese. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've been bit by a goose in my lifetime. It's too many. It is very much too many times.
Mars, my daughter, my youngest, absolutely hates birds because of experiences with ducks and geese, and a mean rooster that we had. We kept turkeys for several years, though, and our Tom was not aggressive at all. We never had a problem with him. And we had roosters that kick your ass every chance they got, but
and they're like this tall, but they're
terrifying.
They're coming at you. Well, sometimes we just need a little mood lightener here on this show, and that was a great one.
Yeah, in the true crime world, things get pretty heavy, so I'm always on the lookout for some funny crime, some stupid criminal crime, some things that aren't all the murders. Yeah,
for sure.
So with that, I'm going to turn it back to you for all the murders.
Okay. Well, a lot has happened in the Colt Gray school shooting case since we reported on it last week. And so I thought I would tell you some of the many things that have occurred. First and foremost, that his father, Colin Gray, has now as well been arrested.
Mm-hmm.
This is Colin. Colin was looking a lot worse for wear in court, shaking. A lot of people were trying to determine, was he shaking from like withdrawals because he's had a drug problem,
Right.
or was he crying maybe, but definitely very overwhelmed
Ooh, the
by the
shaking was
situation.
like something. It was really pronounced.
It was.
That was my first thought too, is this is withdrawals. But
I know, it may have been.
yeah.
So, after we are now post Ethan Crumbley's parents' trials and convictions and sentencings. And it seems as though the legal system is really catching up with parents that very clearly were directly involved. If they provided the gun, if they knew that the child was a risk, which is all of the above. So this was in Georgia. This is a shooting in Georgia that happened last week.
Yeah.
4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers were killed, and something like 9 people were injured.
Yeah.
But here's what we know about Colt Gray. By the way, when Colt committed this crime, he was 14 years old.
Yeah.
This picture ought to tell you everything you need to know about Colt Gray. Look at him holding that fucking gun that he then killed his classmates with. And teachers. So when Colt was 13, he was questioned by the FBI. Over a Reddit group where there had been some conversations and potential concern that Colt may actually have been planning a school shooting clear back then.
Yep.
They weren't able to arrest him, but they did tell Dad when they determined that, yes, there were guns in the house. They said, please make sure they're locked up and do not give him access.
Yeah.
So after that, Christmas came around, and what did Colt's dad do? Why, he bought him a semi-automatic rifle that he could very easily shoot his school up with. Why in the hell? Knowing what he knew, would he have ever, number one, given that kid a gun, period, or access to a gun, but bought him a semi-automatic rifle?
Yep.
It was like he was setting him up for success, I guess.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Oh, it's hard to even fathom why you would do something like that.
Yeah.
Why you wouldn't actually empty your house of guns, and take away every amount of access that kid would possibly have.
This is the level of putting guns over other people's lives that we have reached here in the United States. His dad knew damn well that he was a risk of a school shooting. He knew it. And he provided him with more access rather than less. Because I agree, if my kid did something like that, I've never had a gun in my house and I never will. But if I did, those guns would go away forever if I thought my kid was at risk at all. And getting in question by the FBI at 13 years old was not enough information for Dad to go, yeah, we got to get all the guns away from this child.
Yeah.
It is absolutely
Don't you dare
unbelievable to me.
Sit in court now and pretend to be shocked and surprised and amazed. Just fucking don't, because you had every chance. Yeah.
Absolutely. Every chance. And the FBI had him on their radar, but they couldn't actually pin anything directly on him, Kelly. They did question him, but they were never able to prove anything. But, depending on what states' gun laws are, and, most of them are shitty, the red states, anyway. Georgia, Dad didn't have any trouble buying that gun. Why was that household not flagged for some reason? Because it's not in the law. We don't have these things built into the law. That family should have been flagged for, you know what? You probably got all the guns you need right now. You got an unsafe teenager living in this house. Come on. I mean, and of course we have to hold Colt responsible for what he's done as well. But when the adults in the situation can't even be responsible, how can you expect the child to be? I mean, you look at
Right.
Ethan Crumbly, who
Right.
literally begged his parents for more than a year to get him some help, talked about hearing voices and violent stuff, and their same response was to buy that kid a gun that he then used to shoot up his school. Why would your 13-year-old child ever need to own a semi-automatic rifle?
They just
Why?
would not. They just would
Yeah.
not.
No. Not not in any way.
No.
It is absolutely, it's so disgusting to me that people still don't fucking get this. I don't know what it will take. Or if they ever will, or if guns are so much more important than children in this country, because you know that the leading cause of death in the United States in kids under the age of 18 is gun death. Somehow that is not enough.
Nope, apparently not. When I was researching the Kentucky shooter the other night, when that was still going on, who, by the way, has still not been found. There was a press conference that went out 8 minutes ago or so that basically saying the same shit. They still don't know. They haven't found him, but they think they have him corralled. They have no idea. But at any rate, anytime I research a case that's like breaking, one of the things I'll do is I'll go find the local news and read the comments in articles, because sometimes you get some invaluable information that way. So I was doing that, and there were some people in those comments that were absolutely incensed that the highway was closed.
What? Oh my God. No one else gets killed or shot, at least in that situation?
They were saying things like, this is just a way of life. Open up the road. Work needs to go on, and stuff like that. That this is just a way of life. And work goes on, so open up the highway. There's no reason for this highway to be closed. That highway had a bus full of children on it that was being completely sheltered by truck drivers who had positioned their trucks all the way around that bus to keep it safe, because they didn't know where the shooter was. They didn't know when the shooter was going to pop back out and start shooting. They didn't know anything. And people were angry that the road was closed, where he was doing the shooting.
Right.
I'll never understand
Well, and this sentiment that we've been hearing from politicians and all kinds of dumbasses, that this is just a part of life. No, it isn't.
Right.
I absolutely refuse to accept that. It is not a part of life. It was not a part of life when I was in school.
No.
Like Brandon just said, one child died from a lawn dart. Yeah, all you oldies on here, remember the lawn darts? And they were banned. Right. Because children were hurt.
Yeah.
That's fine, Teresa. You're right. It did come from a political VP candidate, and it makes me sick.
We've heard several things like that lately.
That we have to accept that.
Yep.
No.
It's just a way of. It's just the way it is. It's a way of life. Yeah. We need to get over it. All of those things have been bandied about lately. Like, we should just suddenly now go, okay, well, gun violence is just how it is in this country, so I guess just live with it.
We should just expect that some of us are going to lose our children in school shootings. And no, bullshit. Absolutely not.
And teachers should just expect that, they might get gunned down at school one day, because that's just how it is.
No.
Right? Europeans think Americans are insane. We are. We absolutely
because we are.
Yeah,
and we live right in the thick of the gunfucker community of people who care more about their guns than they do their own children. It's so unfathomable to me, the apathy behind all of this now. It's happened so goddamn many times. And it's just like, well, it just always will. Right, Shannon. Shannon says, I have firearms. I will never support the NRA. Right. This isn't you shouldn't be able to have a gun conversation. This is why are you handing your child, who is obviously having some mental health problems and considering shooting up a school, a semi-automatic rifle to make sure that he can do it? Why would you do that? Why would anyone do that?
But also in the case of this family, Dad was a meth addict.
Right.
He was a meth addict. He wasn't supposed to be able to buy guns, right? Isn't that the rule?
I mean, not unless he's a felon.
Right. Well, there is the box on the form, But
Yeah.
that man, from looking at him in court, isn't capable of getting himself out of bed. There is no way he was capable of keeping kids taken care of. And a lot of their family members are saying those kids were terribly neglected and weren't taken care of.
Right. And there was a lot of verbal and emotional abuse from Dad.
And knocking on neighbors' doors, asking for food and those kinds of things. These children weren't cared for. But by God, we could afford a safe full of guns.
Yeah. Amy says ARs are not for hunting unless you want to turn animals into sticky pink mist. Right. We grew up around guns. We grew up around hunting. Katie and I have probably eaten nearly every kind of wild meat you can think of that lives here in the United States, because that's how we grew up. We grew up in rural Idaho. Yeah. Our family did a lot of hunting. Yeah. You know what? They didn't hunt with those kind of guns, because you can't eat that meat. No. It's so beyond anything. Amy says, my son's school got locked down for 5 hours Friday because of shooting in the neighborhood across the street. We had to wait until he was found before we could even pick up our kids.
Sure. Yeah.
Because schools are desperately trying to protect children.
Yeah.
Right, Shannon, right. The dad acted dumbfounded.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, come on. How stupid can you be?
Right. Oh, Brandon. Brandon said, not children, but my aunt and grandma were shot to death execution style by a mentally unstable guy who was allowed to purchase a gun despite his instability, which was well documented. Oh, man.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, Linda, Brandon. It is our understanding that both parents have had some drug problems. Mm-hmm. Right, Danielle? We had earthquake, fire, and bomb threat drills back in the 80s. We did. Mm-hmm. Never had to have a shooter drill, though. Mm-hmm.
The earthquake drills were always interesting because, you'd get under your desk and you'd wait until the teacher was finally like, well, I guess, okay, earthquake over? Let's go back to class. Yeah. But that was it. That's how it was.
Right. Because it was never a direct threat in your building.
No.
Well, as you will be unsurprised, Colt Gray did some writing, because don't they always? And they found some documents of things he'd written in his room. Mm-hmm. And those documents included references to the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Florida that happened in 2018. They are looking at all kinds of things to try to figure out, like what was the motive? Where did this come from? We already know it's abuse and neglect and emotionally unhealthy parents who lead to emotionally unhealthy kids who then provide them with guns. We know what it is. We already know the answer to what causes this. We know.
Yeah. It's the same story, different day.
Yeah. There's been an interview with Colt Gray's grandfather. This is his mother's father. And he blames this on Dad. He says that his evil father should get the death penalty for provoking this massacre. He said spending 11 years with that son of a bitch screaming and hollering every day, it can affect anybody. Oh. He said, 54-year-old Colin Gray. He's evil. They didn't survive in it, he said, of their family. They were no longer together at the time that this occurred.
Right.
But they had been, and it sounds like there was a lot of emotional abuse. He said there was no physical abuse, but lots of verbal and just emotional abuse. Mm-hmm. He says, Colt has to pay for what he did, but I'm telling you, he was driven, no question in my mind. He was driven by his father to do what he did. That's as plain as I can put it, and I know I'm right. Yeah. He wants him to get the death penalty, which I don't think he actually can. No. So Colin Gray is charged with 4 counts of manslaughter. 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children for being an alleged accessory in the school shooting.
Good.
He faces 180 years in prison, however, so he's probably not going anywhere.
This is where we're at. This has to happen. It has to happen.
It does.
We have to start sending an incredibly strong message that if a child accesses one of your weapons and they commit a crime with it, you're going to be accountable for it.
Right. You are.
And
This is
I'm
the
amazed at how
only
many
recourse
people.
the system has at this point.
Yeah. And I'm amazed at how many people online that are, defending this, defending the parents, going, that's not fair. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. If your kid is driving your car and they get in an accident, it's you that is responsible for that. You have to pay for
Right.
whatever damage is done. You have to deal with the insurance. You. Why would this be any different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's the only recourse we have.
Yeah.
Because our gun laws are so shitty and people are allowed to just go out and buy the shit and hand it over to their 14-year-old kid, or like Joseph Couch, the shooter in Kentucky, he went and bought a semi-automatic rifle and 2,000 rounds and commit that shooting on the same day because he walked right into a gun dealer and bought that gun and that ammo all at once.
Yeah.
Because, why shouldn't he be able to? Second Amendment. Bullshit. First of all, why is it ever allowed that anyone buy that much ammo? Why? Ever? Yeah. What could you possibly need it for other than, I don't know, shooting up a freeway? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Amy says, my ass would have been beaten if I would have touched my dad's guns without him with me. Oh, us too. I did a real dumb thing as a kid one time. We had pellet guns. So pellet guns are kind of like BB guns, but they shoot a little bit bigger thing called a pellet.
Yeah.
And I was messing around with mine in our basement one time. It wasn't supposed to be. We were not supposed to even touch those without my dad. I shot it at the wall. It bounced back and smacked me in the shin. And gave me a major welt. It hurt so bad. And then I was like getting that shit put away as soon as possible because I knew I was going to be in so much trouble. But we never should have even had access. But we did. I could have. But we knew not to. We were trained from the time we were little kids to know that guns are dangerous and we never touch them and we never do anything with them unless our parents are around. Except, I did do that. One time, and it was really dumb, and I did a dumb thing and it hurt, and I was like, okay, I'm an idiot, I'm not doing that anymore.
Right. And then you were scared. Yeah. It was a different time though. I mean, when we were in high school, a lot of the guys would come to school with their pickups with gun racks in the back window full of guns.
Yeah, had like all their hunting rifles.
Yeah. And that was no thing. They weren't getting them out and shooting people at school. It wasn't.
Yeah, there was no fear around it. You didn't expect that anyone was going to get hurt because of it. Now I see that and I'm like, I'm staying far away from that idiot.
Right. Because now you don't know.
You don't, because we're an open carry state. And the Trump administration got rid of the limitation for people who are diagnosed with a severe and persistent mental illness from being able to own guns. So literally, you have no idea who has guns. And everywhere we go, we were doing a street fair at a metaphysical store on Sunday, and a guy came up to our booth with a pistol strapped to his belt. And I'm like, really, buddy? Really?
Right. Because we don't know that you're the good guy with the gun. And even if you think you're the good guy with the gun, you may not be.
Yeah. You may not be.
But
there's no guarantee that,
Yeah. Back to Colt Gray. Didn't his mother call the school and warn them?
His mother called the school. So what happened is Colt texted both of his parents that morning. I love you. I'm sorry. This isn't your fault. Kinds of texts.
Oh, boy.
And mom freaked. She knew. She knew what it meant. She called the school, but it was right about the time that the shooting was happening.
Oh, boy.
But she knew. She says she has been terrified of something like this for a long time. And, of course, she's, split from the husband, and the husband is allowing all this access. She lost custody of her kids for a while because of meth use. Dad has a history of it, and so does, and then so did Mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, she knew right away that she knew what he was going to do.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, Amanda, get the fuck out.
Fuck you forever, Amanda, and bye-bye.
Blocked.
I don't know why people are so stupid. I really don't. So,
because
anyway.
It's the internet. Yeah.
Shannon says, I read that it was an hour after she called that the shooting started. I saw at one point that there were two boys in the school with very similar names, and that first boy they went to was the wrong one.
Oh.
Because Colt didn't get off very many shots before he was confronted by the resource officer, and he just put his gun down and laid on the floor like he knew.
Do we know how he got that gun into the school?
I don't know.
It's a fairly good-sized gun. I mean, would it, maybe, I don't know, wouldn't it take like a duffel bag? Probably not a backpack, right? I think it would
be
take
a bigger bag.
A bigger bag, right? To get a gun that size in.
Yeah.
Like with Ethan Crumley, his was a handgun. And so he had it in his backpack, no problem. Pretty easy to conceal, but we're talking about an AR style gun. A long gun is,
But
I've been wondering about that.
You've got kids in sports, you've got kids playing musical instruments, there are kids carrying around,
True,
like artists, like big bags for stuff like that. And if somebody gets, unless somebody's real suspicious of this particular kid or notices something, when you got a lot of kids around, it's really hard.
Yeah.
But they must not have had a metal detector.
No, they must not have. No. And Grandma also had made a call the week before, right? Out of concern for Colt.
Yes. And those are all things that have to be addressed, because the school didn't wait. They went to the wrong kid. They went to a different Colt Gray. They didn't realize they were talking to the wrong kid. It was too late.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sleepy Lee says, that's true. I used to carry my catcher's equipment on game day because I didn't have enough time between classes and the end of the day before I had to be on the bus, and with a big bag. Right. Exactly. So there's a lot of kids carrying big things.
Yeah.
But the school definitely, the issue has to be addressed that Grandma did call and share a concern the week before, and what was done about that, and why wasn't more action taken. Similar to the Ethan Crumley situation. I mean, his parents were literally called into school on the same day that the shooting happened. And I don't know why the school did not refuse to let him stay at school. Right. They recommended that the parents take him home. Parents wouldn't do it, but they could say, we're going to have the resource officer, escort him home. He is not safe here. Sure. And they didn't. There's still a lot that is not being done that can be done. Yeah. Linda said they said the gun breaks down, so it's possibly could have. I wondered about that.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. Okay.
But shouldn't they already know which Colt was the one with the history? Not necessarily, because
he was brand new to this school. Well, and he was brand new to this school. He had only been to school for a couple of days, so they just didn't know him at all.
Know him. Yeah. And that what was scary is that this wasn't a bullying issue. This wasn't a peer issue. This kid was brand new to this school, Right. Right. They had no idea. He just wanted to shoot up a school. That was just it. Right. And school had just started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a report that his dad called him a sissy and bought him the gun to toughen him up. That came out of his mom's family. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's
Toughen him
exactly.
up, all right.
That works real good. So I did want to say the victims' names. Math teacher, 39-year-old Richard Aspinwall, and math teacher, 53-year-old Christina Irami, and 14-year-old students, Christian Angulo and Mason Schermerhorn were the victims, besides the injured students, of which there were, I think, at least 9.
I believe that's right. Yeah, something like that.
But the
That are all
school
expected
resource
to fully
officer,
recover.
yeah. The school resource officer came upon him very quickly, and he put his gun down
Yeah.
and got on the ground and surrendered. He knew he would be killed, you know?
Yeah.
And he went right into custody. That's the thing that I don't understand, why this is the way that some kids have to scream for help, that they're being ignored so completely that this is the only way they get attention. I don't know. And I'm not saying that that's the only thing going on here. It's not. But it does beg the question, you know, why do they turn on their peers in their school?
Yep.
And we know sometimes there's been some extreme bullying, but that's not always the case.
Yep. But it's scary to see these kids emulating other shooters, you know?
Right. That is really scary.
That really scares me. After Ethan Crumbley had been apprehended and been in jail for a little time, he was asking for his fan mail.
Yeah.
Asking for his fan mail. Yeah.
Yep. Ethan Crumbley is a very ill young man. His mental health is terrifying.
Right. But
and
if
it's
this
continuing.
kid was writing that kid, that's what's scary to me. You know, that these kids are seeing each other as some kind of as goals, you know. That's terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. What Trend says, should be the same then if your kid shoplifts, why stop with guns? Honestly, I agree. Parents don't take responsibility for their children.
Yep.
It used to be that if you were in trouble, your parents were in trouble too. And that does need to be the same.
Yep.
Okay, What Trend? You're taking this way too far, and we're not going to have a big gun debate with you now.
What Trend?
Should be the same if your kid sneaks out of the house and breaks into somebody's house for providing the window. Okay, we're done with you.
Providing the window?
Yeah, that's you're going way too far. You know you are. We're not going there with you.
No.
Let's see, Deanna. Yeah, they contact the FBI and the police. Yeah, it is good that they jumped right on it the first time, but how is there not a system in place to flag someone like that and to flag the parents of someone like that in the gun purchasing system? I'll tell you why. That gun purchasing system is so old that they still do most of it on paper. Like there is no current like upgraded system with good databases and, you know, stuff like that. It doesn't exist.
Well, you can pay for one. If you have a gun shop, you can pay for software that you run all of your stuff through that makes it faster so that you can do it quickly and not, you know, essentially doing it by hand. But you do have to pay a pretty penny for it. My daughter worked at a gun shop last year. Right. And she said that was something that the owners complained about all the time, is how much money they spend on this stupid system. And she's like, without it, I don't even know what we do, you know? But even for her, when they would sell certain guns that you have to, you know, run a background check on, you know, it could take 20, 30 minutes for the background check to come back so that they could approve the sale of the gun. But recently, Scott bought a gun. My husband bought a gun in Idaho Falls. We dropped him off at the store, went and ran another errand thinking it would be a while. And by the time we got back, he'd been sitting on the curb for a while. Because like at Home Depot and not Home Depot doesn't sell guns.
No, they don't.
At like Cabela's, and I think it was a Cabela's, their system is so fast because they pay for a fast system, a good system, that it is a whole lot quicker. for their digital system. But again, like this is not, it's not cohesive. So the little shops, the gun, the gun sales and stuff like that, it's not cohesive. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. The system is terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, Sandy, I knew you were talking about the troll, and I did kick the troll out because we're done with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Deanna says it's basically a paper that says I pinky promise I won't use this for illegal activities.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's really no way to, ensure anything. And also just this concept that a human being needs to purchase 2,000 rounds for a semi-automatic rifle. For what
Right.
purpose could that possibly ever even exist? A legitimate reason. There isn't one.
Also, the expense of that gun and 2,000 rounds must have been so much. And that's why,
Oh, yeah.
he was in there
Yeah.
dropping many thousands of dollars on that gun and that ammo. So,
Yeah. Yeah, why are there trolls in here today? Because we're talking about guns. We get trolls every time we talk about shootings and we talk about guns. It always happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, every time. But this is it's so blatant. After the Crumblies were sentenced, there were some big, broad national conversations about whether or not that was fair or right or whatever. And, as we know, Crumblies, I mean, their case made it all the way to the Michigan Supreme Court, I think twice on different issues before they were actually taken to trial. But people were worried that this would actually create more of a race issue, race disparity, in that any, minority kid that maybe is involved in illegal activity, that their mothers are going to be charged. And I think that's, in my opinion, at least, I think that's unlikely. We're not saying that every single time a kid does something bad, their parents are charged. We're saying that when you provide them with the weapon, you're going to be charged. To me, that's a very different line. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but it's different to me.
I think you're right. We have not seen that bear out in actual cases.
No.
The majority of cases that I can think of where parents have been charged, the parents were white. Because this hasn't happened very many times. I mean, the Crumblies really were the first that were charged with murder, or not murder, but manslaughter. Cruz, what's his name? Cruz's dad was charged as well, not with murder, but with providing him with the gun, and he had some gun charges. And then we had that little boy, that 6-year-old, who took a gun to school and shot his teacher. His mother was charged. Yeah. That child was 6 years old. How did he have access to a gun and know how to shoot it and be able to get it to school? There was some serious neglect going on there.
Do you remember that case out of, I don't know where it was out of now, but it was at a McDonald's. I think it was out of Utah, now that I say that. That might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I actually really think it was. That, a man ended up in an altercation with the police at a McDonald's drive-thru, and he threw a gun to his little child, like 4-year-old, and told them to shoot at the police. Yeah.
Terrifying.
That's who gets charged.
That is who gets charged. And Tubbs, you're right. It is a really over-exaggerated argument. Tubbs says, I think 88% of school shooters are from middle-income white families. Right. The vast majority of them are middle-income and they're white. So we're not seeing that, Plus, guns can be private sale and gun show loopholes. Right. It is not hard to get a gun at all.
No.
And where we live.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nope. What we want is you to not be a jackass. I just put you in timeout, What Trend? But I think that we're going to take it a step further. Now we're all done with your crap. We don't need that crap.
No.
If you can't have a reasonable conversation around the safety of children and guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did end them. GSI, I had given that person a timeout to see if they would settle down, and they didn't, so got rid of them.
They're out.
But what I cannot what I know immediately that I'm speaking with someone who is part of the problem when they cannot look at what is happening with school shootings and the dangers to our children and their teachers and have a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
exactly what you're talking about now, GSI.
We're
What
not
I'm
talking
saying,
about politics. We're talking about what we need to do to keep our kids in our country safe. Period.
right.
Period. It's not a political conversation. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
I don't understand why it is. We're
Yeah.
talking about the safety of our children in this country.
Mhm.
Why is that not okay? You
Yeah.
know? It just, I don't get it. So Dad and so Colt Gray and Colton Gray have both been seen by a judge now. Colt Gray was informed of his charges and he was held without bond.
Yeah.
And he's also been told he's going to be tried as an adult. This
Yeah.
is another place that it makes me feel sick to think that a 14-year-old child is going to be charged as an adult. And I understand the gravity of the crime, but I'm still not sure that this is the right move.
Yeah. Yeah.
With 14-year-old kids.
No. Me neither. This is hard. Well, you look like Ethan Crumbly. Do you think Ethan Crumbly should ever be loose on the public?
No, he shouldn't.
He is scary as hell. But then we look at Colt Gray. But we don't know Colt Gray yet. We don't know anything about him. We haven't seen what happens with him in court yet. But should a 14-year-old ever be charged as an adult?
I know. I don't know. And is the right place for Ethan Crumbly prison? That young man is seriously mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
He has a psychotic disorder, and what he needs is, medical treatment.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he should ever be out in society, but is prison as a child that he was 15 when he committed that shooting in Michigan, and now this kid is 14 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I have a son. I remember when he was 14 and when he was 15.
Yeah.
Was he an adult in his head? No.
Yeah. Not at all.
Right, GSI, how can a father think that making a man out of someone has to do with guns? Oh boy. Tell you what, we live around many of them that do in fact think that.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed today, not gun related, but violence related, somebody posted in a local group that her son was beat up badly at a local high school football game last Friday.
Oh boy.
And she said that she knows that there were teenagers there that were filming it, and she really needs the video. And was wondering if anybody had seen it and if they could pass it along. And, people were giving her some ideas, and another lady commenting saying the same thing happened to her son last year, and they were able to get the video and it was important to their case and whatever, right? And her son's quite injured. One of the comments was a man who said, "I really miss the days when we couldn't just let kids fight it out."
What?
Like
that was better?
Mm-hmm. You're in here defending this? Like, this Neanderthal thinking is really something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, Vicki. So I fully agree with what you're saying. Vicki says we were referring to the Black community. We were degraded because our kids got guns from gangs. The mother was put out of public housing if the kids used a gun while having the mother's car, lost the car. Agreed. And those things are absolutely wrong. If that parent literally placed a gun in that kid's hands, that needs consequences. These other things, what you're referring to, I agree. That's outside the control of the parent, and I don't agree at all with them being punished. This is more like, hey, my kid threatened a school shooting and had to talk to the FBI. I'm going to buy him an AR-15 for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I think needs to be consequenced, but agreed, Vicki, that we have to be very careful where that goes.
100%. That's exactly what we don't want to have happen. That's not right. And it is that is something that, our society might try to pull. But so far, hopefully not so good, or so far so good on that. But yeah, we're totally with you on that. That's
Most definitely.
no.
Well, and Shannon, yes, Shannon and Kelly are both referencing two cases, one in Arizona and one in Las Vegas, where a mob
Right.
of young men beat another young man to death,
Yes.
high school aged kids.
We've covered
And
both
the
of those
debates
cases. Yeah.
we have, and that they are all being charged as adults as
Yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I just
Yeah.
think we have not even begun to solve these problems.
No, not
And
at all.
they just keep happening every day.
Mm-hmm. Every day. Yep.
Well, I am grateful that Colin Gray is also being charged. This is what has to happen in a situation like that. I certainly hope that this continues to, or begins to be, at least somewhat of a deterrent. I think that's the hope, is that maybe people will think twice about providing incredibly dangerous weapons to their teenagers. Just,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
it's never going to work.
No, but I think charging the parents like this at least is a start. But it does make my heart hurt for Cole and for his siblings, Colt, sorry, and his siblings, that they've been raised the way they were in a world, in a life that this is where we got.
Yeah, but Colt was obviously not a priority.
No.
And, you know, I realize that his mother has really tried, but she did have a drug problem that drug her away from him as well. And when you've got parents that aren't paying attention, and you've got a kid who's struggling, sometimes this is what happens, and it's terrifying.
It is.
Yeah.
And of course, all of the love to the victims' families. I know that one of the young men that was killed is autistic. And
Yes.
after the shooting, when all the families were trying to get reunited with their children, he wasn't turning up. And his family was really scared, and they had put it out on message boards and social media. If you see him, approach him in a really calm, kind manner, because he might run. You know, he's going to be really scared and upset. And as it turned out, he had been murdered.
He had been murdered.
Yep.
That's just so sad.
Yep. Yep. Incredibly sad. Yeah.
Right, GSI. You do have to feel bad for the kids themselves, because they are also victims, and I agree that they are.
Yeah.
We have to figure out how to get them help to keep this from happening.
Yeah.
Because obviously Colt Gray was a victim himself.
Yeah.
But our young boys, particularly, thinking that this is a solution, I don't understand where that's coming from.
Yep.
And that's something we really have to address too.
Mm-hmm.
So we will keep an eye on this case. You know, this is the kind of case we'll follow all the way through trial, because we think it's really important to elevate this conversation, and to continue to elevate this conversation around parents that are so incredibly irresponsible with their guns.
Yep.
That has to change.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Just a reminder, because it's coming up next week, we have moved our membership for the watch party off from YouTube, as you know, because YouTube kicked our asses last week. And we now have a little subscription over on Buy Me a Coffee, and there's a link to it on our website, truecrimesquad.com. Many of you have bought us coffees as tips many times over there. And now there's a little membership. It's $2 a month, and for that you get access to the watch party, which we'll be doing next Wednesday, next week. And you also get priority, and you're going to be getting an email from me soon with a special email address that you can use to send us case suggestions, and we will give priority to case suggestions who have joined that membership over there, and that will help us in the midst. We got demonetized, and we appealed, and they denied our appeal. because we didn't provide them a bunch of information that they didn't even ask us for. So I guess this game is unwinnable. We were demonetized along with a lot of other true crime.
Yeah.
True crimers during, it happened right around the time of the end of the Robert Tellis trial and the Corey Richins preliminary, and they accused us of producing non-original content.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, we were streaming trials, but I mean, we certainly do tons. We have 1.4K videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
We certainly have the vast majority original content, but you know. Anyway, we can reapply to monetize again in November, which we're going to do, but we're going to keep our memberships off from YouTube because we'd already been having trouble with that, and you know, so we're just going to make things way easier. So if you want the watch party and you want to support us a little bit and help us do what we're doing, there's that over there at Buy Me a Coffee. Just go to truecrimesquad.com. There's a link there for it, but make sure that you get that, because we've got the watch party coming next week.
Yeah.
And we don't want you to miss out. And we'll keep reminding you, because I know it's just a change, something new to have to do.
Yeah, and we're sorry. We hate having to do that, but it's out of our hands.
It is at this point.
Right,
and you
punks, I tell you. Right, for sure. But
and they're not keeping us down.
Oh, no.
They will not keep us down.
No. Yep. Right, because that's it. I mean, our videos are still monetized on YouTube. We're just not getting paid for them. YouTube is.
Yeah. Now YouTube gets paid for them. So it's screwed up. It's very screwed up.
But we aren't the only ones. In fact, one of the true crimers that I follow on Twitter that I think is awesome, he's had to just go back to his day job.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, fortunately for us.
Yeah.
Did we, badgered witness, did we think to fast and pray about what precisely YouTube wanted to know? You know, we didn't.
We really should have.
We already know that doesn't work, but, right? You're referring, of course, to the governor of Utah asking all of their citizens to do a very Mormon thing, which is to fast and pray. And right now, they're doing it for the government, guys.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't. We were apparently supposed to read their minds because they gave us a list of you didn't provide us with blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you, though, they never provided that list of things that they needed prior to the appeal. So I don't know how we were supposed to know to send us those things when they did not ask for them.
What they wanted was a better illustration of what our creative process looks like. I'm like,
and how we film and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, it was just actually, but well, okay
clear,
then.
But whatever.
It's right.
It's our own fault.
Done this
blame our, yes, as ex-Mos, we know this is not true, but Mormons would be blamed that their own faith was not strong enough. Agreed. Yikes. So anyway, we keep marching forward. We're gonna keep winning this. Don't worry. YouTube is only one of our monetization sources, and you know, so we we do definitely make more money on Spotify than we do here. So you know.
Yeah.
So and Teresa says, by the way, no beeping today. Thank you.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you. Well, we will be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m. Mountain. It will be case updates. There are tons of things going on. And we're excited because we're going to be able to talk about a lot of different things. We really appreciate all of you being here and all of you having this conversation. And don't worry, we always boot the trolls. I try to give people a chance if they can come back and be decent. But sometimes
they can't always.
They can't. And that's okay. Then they're just not in the right place because we're not going to tolerate it. But we appreciate all of you being able to have, because we know this is a hard conversation. Several people said, we never get to talk about this because people just shut you down. Right. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Lee, it was actually a video that we had to provide. And we did provide it.
Yeah.
Which we did do, but whatever. All right. Well, We love you all. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, leave a review wherever you can, wherever you're watching or listening. That is always appreciated and helps us to grow. And you know it. We are the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.
Take care.